Well, I've been speaking with Professor Chris Piwuna. He's the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. We'll be right back, and we'll be speaking with the Minister of State for Education. Just stay with us. Welcome back to Political Paradigm. I'm now joined virtually by the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmed. Prof, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're excited that ASUU has called off the strike because this administration was already boasting about not having any strike action by the union so far, but sadly this is the situation. So let me just ask you as we progress now, what sort of engagement you had with the union since the strike action was called off? It's almost a week now.
We had series of, let me start by first saying good day, but we have series of engagement with the union. When they declared this, already we are having a series of meetings with them, but then we had a slight issue that resulted in them calling the strike. After they called the strike, of course, we reach out to them and have a discussion on some of the issues that resulted in the union calling the strike. What we did immediately after we called the strike was to reach out with the leadership, had series of discussion. After those series of discussion, which we understand where the problem is, we talked to them that they should give officially the position of the union to the government. Because what happened was that they gave series of demands, and based on the negotiation, we created, let me just give a bit of a background so that you understand what really happened, although I know the minister have talked about it several times.
All right.
We came on board, and we came on board already. There is an existing negotiation committee, which Yael Ahmad is heading that particular negotiation committee. But then, apart from the leadership of Yael Ahmad, they had a subcommittee. The subcommittee were tasked with the responsibility of negotiating with ASUU. This subcommittee was headed by the Pro-Chancellor of Federal University of Accra, and then membership from the ministry and NUC. So they had series of meetings based on the initial agreement. They came up with now a new agreement that was submitted to the committee of Yael Ahmad, because the subcommittee was working for that committee. It was submitted and then later presented to the ministry. But we reviewed the negotiation terms, what they agreed to, and we realized that there are some key gaps in terms of what was agreed on. Some of those key gaps is that we realized that the composition of the committee does not have any high-level or high-ranking member from the government side in terms of the directors that should be part of it or permanent secretary. All the members from the ministry were not either directors or permanent secretary, and therefore they are not at the level of decision making. Based on that, some of the terms they agreed to will be very difficult to implement. So because of that, we decided that we need to actually create and compose a high-level committee. This high-level committee will be in charge of now reviewing the submission from this committee and looking at it critically, understanding those that can be implemented, items that are not feasible based on statutory provisions, based on law. They will now give recommendation, which we are going to get back to us on that. So we created this high-level technical working committee that we called under the leadership now of the permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Education. Members of this high-level subcommittee include Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Labor. It also includes the budget, Director of Budget, Director of Salaries and Wages, and also the Solicitor General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So these are the high-level technical working committee. The tasks of this technical working committee, they are tasked with sitting down, reviewing the terms of agreement between the subcommittee that negotiated with us and giving now the position of the government, a realistic position of the government. So that was done even before they called the strike. But then, in given the position of the government to ASUU, because we had to set this high-level committee and they had to review each and every item, the deadline given by ASUU for us to get back to ASUU, we couldn't meet that deadline. We asked them for extension, and when we went to present, I think there was a bit of a gap in terms of presenting the position of the government, which led to ASUU calling the strike. Okay. But then after ASUU has called the strike, we decided we call them, sort out the issues, and bring them back to the table now. They had about 2 engagements before they call off the strike between the ILA group and also the leadership of that technical working committee that was created. They had series of meetings with ASUU. They had the first meeting, an official presentation with clear explanation of all the positions of government in each of the items that they had concern on. So we presented that position. ASUU said, okay, they will go back to their members, present this position before coming back to the government, which was done, and they came back and they had another series of meetings which resulted in them calling off the strike, because even between that time, we are able to give them some information. We are also able to achieve some of the key issues that they identified as part of the bottlenecks, as part of what they wanted from the government.
Okay, Prof, the details of this negotiation will be very important so that the public understands where to point fingers with regard to blame. I've just come off a conversation with the president of ASUU as well, and it would seem that what we know, or what we thought we knew, was the 2009 agreement, the issue of salary increase, which they said the federal government had said 35%, that even though they're not satisfied with 35%, that they would take that for now. There's also the issue of the revitalization fund and the improving welfare and all that. But you've also just mentioned that there's a new agreement drafted by ASUU to which the federal government is paying attention. Could you make available the details of this agreement, which seems to be different, if it is, from what we've always known?
Basically, some of the items that we are still having discussions with the union on, I can mention that there are some items related to condition of service. And some of these items related to condition of service, there are rules, regulations, statutory provisions that we have to confirm that whatever we agreed to aligns with that. But we have gone a long way in terms of reaching an agreement with us in some of the provisions and the condition of service. And there is also the aspect of this third-party deduction as a result of movement to IPPIS that we are trying to sort out, and then the movement back now to JIPMIS. That we have to reach out to Accountant General Office, but we are able to also identify key plans in terms of when payment will be done and in terms of even the outstanding balances that need to be paid. So we have made progress in that regard also. I think apart from the salary issues and the conditions of service and this third-party deduction, and also staff that went on sabbatical during the period of IPPIS. So these are some of the lingering issues that we are still discussing with ASUU. But as I mentioned, we have made a lot of progress, and that was why ASUU called off the strike. And even after the strike was called off, we continued. In fact, the technical working committee that is trying to finalize the agreement with ASUU had a meeting on Saturday from 11 a.m. up to 7:30 p.m., trying to sort out all the other outstanding issues and give a specific date at when we'll be able to make those payments and all the other issues that they asked of, which already we have submitted that report to the ILO committees, and he's going to have a meeting with them on Saturday. He's going to have the meeting tomorrow with us to present now the updated position of the government to the union.
Absolutely. Prof, in calling off the strike, ASUU had said that if in 1 month, all their demands are not met, they would go into a full-blown strike. This was just a warning strike. I have also just spoken with the president of ASUU, and I asked him what the priorities are, because I dare say that the federal government would not be able to meet all these demands in a month, because some of them require long-term solutions. So what is priority for the government with regard to these demands?
In terms of the demands from ASUU, I think this administration has done a lot. This is a 2009 agreement that has been lingering for 16 years. It has not been implemented. It keeps just, government just look at low-hanging fruits and just address those low-hanging fruits. And then the cycle is a continuous process. But for us coming on board, what we want to do is to completely finalize and iron out all the issues as contained in that agreement, so that we can deal with all the issues and forget about those issues as contained in the 2009 agreement, so that other people that come on board will be talking about something else, not still talking about 2009 agreement. So many years have passed from that agreement. We are taking each of these issues, each of these demands by ASUU, and we are trying to do the best we can based on available resources and also in line with existing laws and policies and statutory provisions. So we are trying to iron out all the issues, not just look at just those that are low-hanging and then just keep pushing the 2009 agreement without really reaching.
Pardon me, Honourable Minister. Pardon me, Honourable Minister. This 2009 agreement that has dragged for so long, I know that successive governments have tried to renegotiate it, because some have considered it to have outlived its time. Is this government renegotiating that 2009 agreement?
Let me just say this. As we mentioned, in terms of the salary increment, we have agreed with the union that we are going to have a dedicated allowance for the teaching staff in the university. We are going to have a dedicated allowance, which was what we presented as the 35% increment, is in terms of the welfare of the lecturers. This is a 35% increment, and we didn't just come up with that number. We did our own analytics and understand what is it that as a government we can be able to give to this union. And we agree on that 35% based on our analysis and knowing that, yes, we can be able to achieve that. So we didn't just draw that number out of blue. That's number one. Apart from that, also, all the other issues as contained in the conditions of service also, that is why part of the committee, we have the Solicitor General as part of that committee, so that we are guided by the law. We don't want a situation whereby we do something and then when it comes down now to implementation, it becomes cumbersome and it becomes troublesome for whoever is in charge of that implementation to implement. So we want to be guided by that. Yes.
All right. So with regard to improvement in funding for universities?
The aspects of revitalization, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, coming on board, promised to give 150 billion as part of the revitalization to tertiary institutions. And of course, already these 150 billions are to be paid in tranches, three tranches of 50 billion each. Already the 50 billion is in the coffers. We already have that funds. It's just that now to agree on how to do the disbursement of that funds. And we are calling for IMC meeting, which during the IMC meeting will finalize. The committee will finalize in terms of disbursement and all the processes attached to that. So in terms of revitalization, it's already there. And in terms of and academic allowances, we have done the mainstreaming of these and academic allowances. Instead of every year the union had to fight to get their allowances, now we have done the mainstreaming, which was also one of the greatest achievements that we are able to achieve, to be able to mainstream these and academic allowances into the universities. So as far as you served, you'll be able to earn your allowance. So we were also able to devise a means of doing that mainstreaming. And that was why I'm sure the union will say this. We have achieved a lot in terms of our discussion with them. We discuss with them, we understand where they are coming from, and we try to address all their issues.
I know you are pressed for time, and I'm trying to squeeze out as much as I can from you. But let me ask you, As far as this revitalization fund is concerned, that 50 billion naira is sitting in the bank now and has not been distributed. I know the Minister of Education had said that ASUU is to blame. ASUU, on the other hand, doesn't want to speak extensively on it, but there are concerns from ASUU around the consultant who would take a certain amount from that money.
I think that's part of the reason why we are calling for the IMC meeting, because as I'm sure the ASUU president will mention to you, we were not there when the process kick-started, but then we had a slight issue in terms of somebody introducing himself as a consultant. So number one, we had to do our own investigation in terms of following the files and what is happening. But then we cannot make any decision now. We have to call for that IMC meeting, which we are going to call as soon as possible.
All right.
It's during that IMC meeting, which there is membership comprises of both the union and also government. So we are going to, during that particular IMC meeting, all these issues around the consultant, around the processes and disbursement is going to be ironed out through that. I can't preempt the process by saying that this is a decision that we are going to take. It has to be at the committee level and it has to be a collective decision, not just a decision by the government, but it has to be a collective decision between the government and the unions also. That is why we have the IMC committee.
On behalf of the Nigerian students, I want to ask you this question because if this strike resumes at the end of after a month of this suspension, a great percentage of Nigerians would likely blame the federal government for not keeping to its agreements. You already say that certain actions are being taken to prevent that strike, that full-blown strike. But let me ask you a question. As government, how confident are you that within a month you would fulfill your own obligation to the point that there would be no strike from the union?
We are doing everything possible, and I can say that as a government, we've been reaching out to the union. They know that we speak to them, we give them time, we drop everything we are doing to create time to have these discussions, to address all their issues. Since even before they call the strike, right from when we assume office, we always have an open door policy for them. We've been having series of meetings. We had met, I cannot actually name the number of times that we had sat down with the union, not only us, but all other unions in the tertiary institutions. We create time so that we can address their issues. And even right now, as I'm speaking, I told you that we are going to, the ILO committee is going to have a meeting with ASUU tomorrow, which before that, we had a meeting during weekends. These are our weekends, Saturday, all the PAMSEC, everybody that is part of that committee turned out for that meeting. Even the PAMSEC was amazed that all these high-ranking members forfeited their weekends to be part of that meeting on a Saturday that lasted 4 hours, from 11 to 7 p.m., more than 8 hours, 7:30 p.m., more than 8.5 hours, sitting there trying to ensure that we have come to an agreement in terms of what the government can do. Okay. And we are going to go back and also have another meeting with the union to ensure that we don't go on strike. Part of our achievement that we are always proud of is this ability to sit down with the unions and reach a conclusion together with them. So from what we are doing and from the efforts we are putting, I don't think ASUU will go back on strike again. Because as far as negotiation is concerned, we are negotiating with them, and it goes against every rule when we are in negotiation for ASUU now to go back and say we are going on strike. We have this good faith and goodwill that we believe that ASUU also wants the student to stay in school. We want the student, this is our number one priority, for our students to attend school and also have the best that they can have as a country. And the ASUU, I'm sure, also have similar objective and vision also. So I don't think ASUU will say that they are going on a strike, because the government is doing its 100%, its own part in ensuring that we agree, in ensuring that we address all the issues.
Finally, Honorable Minister, ASUU has accused the government of neglecting tertiary institutions. The question of budgeting for Nigeria's education sector is also there.
This administration, if you look at the budgetary provision for 2024 and compare it with that of 2023, I think there is about almost 200% increment. From 2024 to 2025, there is another huge, more than 150% increment in terms of the provision for funding in the education sector. And people keep saying that is below UNESCO recommendation. And then when you look at the UNESCO recommendation, if you look at documents, there is no document that says this is the recommendation and that is available. It's not. And even the figure being quoted is not even the actual figure that was even quoted in one of the methods they had. So I don't know where that information comes from, but I can assure you that this government is very serious about education. It keeps increasing the education budget, and we are still going to have an increment even because it's one of the major priority for this administration.
I asked the ASUU president what his understanding is or what is visible in schools with regard to the CNG buses, because yes, it's the federal government's initiative to roll out CNG buses so that, the transportation concerns in universities would be addressed. He says it's not visible enough. He says in Jos it's not there. He's just saying that he's questioning the federal government's CNG bus scheme.
We just started with that. It's a gradual process. I'm sure it will reach every university. It's just like it's in phases. Most of the programs goes in phases. You don't start something and say that 100% you want every school to have it immediately. You have to phase these programs out, just like the rural electrification, the solarification of the universities. We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is in phases. But at the end of the day, before the end of the program, we'll ensure that each and every institution benefit from that. So as I mentioned, I don't know clearly what he wants us to do, but it's a process that has started and is a process that will continue. We ensure that students have access, have transportation to the university. Affordable transportation is part of our mandate and is part of our priority.
Honorable Minister, I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for squeezing out time from your busy schedule to make this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmad. Well, that's Political Paradigm. If you'd like to catch this conversation, the entire conversation, that of the ASUU president and the minister, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm or simply go to channelstv.com. Thank you for your time as well. I'm Terry Kumi. Goodbye.